I'm Rob Licuria, senior editor at Gold Derby, here with Jasmine Cephas Jones, who stars in the Stars of Dramedy Blindspotting. Jasmine, in 2018, you starred in the film that this series is spun off from, written by Rafael and David. It was so well received as it contemplates the effects of, police violence and systemic racism and gentrification. Was it a no-brainer for you to reprise your role as Ashley for the spin-off series, and then take the story in a different direction that focused on her point of view?
I wouldn't say it was a no-brainer. I didn't even expect this to happen at all. I thought, we did the movie. I did like a couple of scenes and that were like really intense. And then that was kind of it for the blind spotting world. And then I got a call from Rafael and Diggs, and they were like, "Do you want to lead the show?" And I was like, absolutely. I this is the last thing that I expected, but also I'm very intrigued, and I'm really, really excited, and I would absolutely love to do this. And so I think even starting like right from the beginning of who Ashley Rose is and kind of where we see her at the beginning of the show, and her whole entire roller coaster ride of emotions, and how she shares her most honest, tender moments to the audience, and the storytelling, and how we talk about, a lot of these important subject matters through drama, but also like comedy, and it's funny. And I'm really, really proud of this show, and I think it really is a piece of art, and kind of checks a lot of boxes also, which is, I don't know, I think it's really hard to do, and somehow we kind of all collectively pull it off. If you look at it on paper, you're like, I don't know if that's gonna work, and then you know we
Yeah.
all kind of do it and have like the courage to do it, because I've never seen a show like this before, on TV. And so yeah, I did not expect this to happen, but I'm really, really happy that it did.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the couch with my wife and we're watching it and we're looking at each other like, there's nothing like this. And this could have gone really badly had they not thought it through properly and really conceptualized it as beautifully as you did. Did you ever think, this is a huge swing, and we really need to make sure that we're staying true to the characters, but also um, creating something that is going to work on screen like it may not have just on the page? Like, did you ever have those doubts?
I mean, I have doubts like that all the time. But you
Yeah,
have doubts because you care, and
yeah,
I think if you didn't have doubts, or a little bit of that fear, that's kind of the thing that feeds you. um I Seeing all of this come together, I I I knew we would pull it off, because especially Raphael and David, like they're rappers, they're poets, they've done theater, like they are very well versed and well-rounded artists. And I've done theater before. I met Diggs doing, we did Hamilton together. And so the foundation of the show you know has been formed by a lot of good, well-rounded artists that you can watch the show and you kind of see where things are taken from, and
yeah,
theater pieces, and you know from hip hop to somehow things the way it's shot, like a Wes Anderson shot, or whatever. I think the way that we're telling this story, and how we want to tell it, like the choreographers are like the Greek chorus of a those old Greek plays that you see. um all of those like little things that make it so special is because of how brilliant my friends and the artists that have created this show.
yeah,
um and you have to take that leap, and you have to and it might look crazy on paper and it might seem crazy on screen too, but it's like, it makes people think, it makes people feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's so beautifully stylized. Like, for example, the first 2 minutes of the pilot has this gorgeous lighting. It starts with fireworks on New Year's Eve, but then it kind of ends with police lights, radiating off your faces. It's musical, it's poetic, with these beautiful interludes that make it super unique, that maybe you might think might bring you out of the story, but it doesn't. It kind of it immerses you even further. I find that really inexplicable. Obviously, it must be about the writing and about the performances. So speaking of the performances, when you're doing those interludes, how do you feel about doing those? Do they help you understand Ashley better?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ashley is stronger than she thinks she is, and all of those verses represent truly how she feels. If you're ever questioning how she feels, that's when she's her most honest and truthful self. And sometimes it's really sad, and sometimes it's really angry, and all of these emotions that I feel like for a while we haven't really seen women portray, and I think those verses really help seeing that Ashley is a very full, well-rounded character that is very nuanced and has a lot to say. And I mean, it's like doing the verse with a tennis racket and trashing a hotel room. It's like, how many women have wanted to do that?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, how many women have wanted to do that and just couldn't, and have been disrespected in so many ways, and would be called a bitch or too bossy, or whatever it is, that happens. It's just, I get to have those moments and really kind of represent the misrepresented in that way. And it's really cool because at first, I was looking at it and I'm like, I'm not a rapper. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And then it's like, oh, the more that I thought about it, it's like kind of looking at these heightened verses as like Shakespeare monologues and breaking them down in each thought. And that is not a performance. It's like, how do you do that? You're dealing with a lot. But the goal is always just to make it as real and honest as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And fundamentally, or ultimately, the characters have to be compelling. I mean, otherwise we end up losing interest, and thankfully they are. Like, for example, I obviously was really interested in Ashley's journey, but the rest of the cast is so strong. Like Helen Hunt, Oscar, Emmy winner. It took me about 10 seconds to realize why she was cast in this role, because I wasn't expecting that. She is so damn good in this. Like, what's it like working with someone of her caliber and her experience? What does she bring to the table?
She brings everything to the table. I mean, this woman knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she wants. And her acting, just everything that she does with Rainey, just it feels so fluid. And it's always just an honor to like share the screen with her, because you learn so much from her just doing a scene and the choices that she makes. And I'm constantly watching what she does and how she carries herself. And she's a great role model. She's like a great person. She's kind of like the mother hen of the show, and she always looks out for you and cares, and then kills it, every time. She just kills it. So it's been really a joy to work with Helen and to learn from her, and to kind of just soak in everything that you can, because she's a legend. She's absolutely a badass, fierce legend. That's exactly what
100%.
she is.
100%. I also really I really enjoy watching you and Jalen Barron, who plays Trish, on screen together. I love the sparring. She's got a real energy about her. I didn't really know much about her before Blindspotting. Um, when this happens to you, when you're on a new show, a stage play, whatever it may be, and you come across another performer who gives you that energy, what's that like? Like, does that happen very often?
Like an energy of just who she is as a person.
Yeah, and just in giving you something back that you can really kind of chew on and make something really special on
Well,
screen.
I mean, it's your dream, you know, you want somebody that's hungry and that, you know, wants to keep learning, but also you can tell that they're already so talented. And Jalen is she's a beautiful human, but also really talented and has a knack for comedic timing, you know. She's a great actor. And you know, I respect her a lot and she respects me, and we have so much fun on set. We had a blast this season. We just finished season 2 actually.
Yeah.
And whenever we get together, we might be like enemies on screen, but we love each other in real life, and we're constantly laughing on set together and are idiots together. So yeah, it's always a fun time with Jalen, because we look out for each other and we have a lot of fun working with each other, and we give each other a lot to work with as well. So
Yeah.
that's always fun.
Yeah, so you just wrapped production on season 2. What do you think fans of the show will most love about the show's sophomore season?
I think again, it's one of the best qualities about the show is our storytelling. You know, you thought, you know, it was weird and crazy and awesome and magical this season. We took that like 100 times on another level. We really did. So
That's cool.
I'm really proud of this season. I think we did an amazing job. And I think there's more adventures, there's more excitement, there's new characters, there's new stories to be told. And I think the whole entire like heightened world, we really ran with that. So there's a lot to look forward to in season 2. It's very good.
That's awesome. Looking back though on season 1, 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That actually does not happen very often, trust me, because we cover everything at Gold Derby, and 100% is, you can't get better than that. And I just want to read to you what the critical consensus says about the show. It says it exceeds the source material, deftly taking on complicated social constructs with comedic flair, crafting a show that is as funny as it is poignant, while giving its incredible ensemble, led by the captivating Jasmine Cephas Jones, plenty of room to shine. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. It's hard to take in. I think you know, I get to make really important art with important people in my life that are my friends. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. I think that's such a rare thing. And the fact that I get to kind of, you know, lead this show with these like incredible people and talk about important issues, and get to be creative in the most heightened way. It's like the dream job, it's the dream gig, and I don't know if like I'll ever work on anything that's like this ever again. So it's those moments where, you know, you have to be like very grateful for where you are, and humbled and just honored to kind of be in this position and be here. And you know, I get to look around the room and be like, all of these people are so talented and they're like my friends,
Yeah.
you know? So it's rare and it's beautiful and it's awesome, and it means something. So
I mean, you've had a pretty good run. You mentioned how you originated on Hamilton playing Peggy. I mean, I could probably speak for everybody else on planet Earth, particularly during the pandemic when we were all stuck at home. And I can't tell you how many times we watched it on Disney Plus. I just cannot. Yeah. And I just, the Scarlet Sisters have become pop culture sensations themselves, just these characters. Do you remember the moment when you realized, yeah, I'm doing something really special that's going to become like massive in pop culture?
yeah, that was when we were at the Public Theater before we went to Broadway. And I remember there was all of this security like backstage, and it was like, who is here? Who is here? Like, this is so weird. Like, there's all of these like agents back here. Like, what's going on? And like Michelle Obama came to the show, and I was like, oh, this is different. This is very different. And I think the second time was when it was the day after the album came out, the soundtrack, and the amount of people that knew every single word already.
Yeah.
Was it was just something shifted. It was like, oh, everybody now can have a piece of this, and listen to it and really get to know the show. That was kind of a big changing moment for me too. But when you're kind of in it, you're kind of like in the whirlwind of it, and so you don't really know the impact and what it's doing until you leave and you finally get a moment to like breathe and be like, what did I just do for 2 years? And it's amazing. I mean, I've been really lucky to be a part of projects that, again, that mean something and that are really important. And the root of the project is, I think, making people feel and have something to say and talk about, important subject matters. I think, I've been involved in a lot of projects like that, and I think deep down inside, it's like, that's what I want to do. I think those really matter, so how I would like to share my art with other people.
Yeah. And then speaking of, you then won an Emmy for Free Racial. I mean, that you just had a really great run so far in your pretty short career to date. You've still got decades to go, hopefully. What did it mean to you to win an Emmy for your work on Free Racial?
I mean, I think the most important thing was my dad won the same year,
Yeah.
and we won together. And like we broke a record of like the first father and daughter to ever do it or something. And my dad has taught me a lot, and brought me around theater ever since I was a little girl. And I grew up in Labyrinth Theater Company, and Philip Seymour Hoffman was like artistic director and directed a couple of plays that my dad was in. And he's taught me so much, and is also like he's like the best dad, but also just a great mentor as well. And so that moment really was a full circle for both of us.
Yeah.
Because it was like, we're peers now, and it was just kind of a symbolism of our relationship, and how much we've learned from each other, and have been, both of us have been a part of this journey and like in our careers. So it was a beautiful moment and a big symbolism of that. And I think that's, one of the most, special things that I get to share with him. Not a lot of people can say that. And so, that was a very special moment for both of us.
Yeah, what an incredibly rare thing to have happened in your life. I've got little moments with my daughter, who's 13 now, that are so maybe insignificant to others, but to me, I will cherish them for life. So I can only imagine what Ron's feeling. You know what? You've already scored an Indie Spirit nomination with Blindspotting. I hope that's followed up with a bit of Emmy love. In the meantime, thank you for your time today. Congratulations on a really strong season 1.
Thank you so much.